Hi, I'm Cheyenne Carroll, your host for TV2 Profiles. Join us today as we talk with Dover police officer Carmen Demetio about her life being born out of the United States, living in New York, and then coming here to Dover, Ohio, and what it's been like to be a woman in the police force for the last 10 years here at Dover. That's coming up right here on TV2 Profiles.
As a parent, we always want what's best for our child. In the case of one child, it may be going off to college. In another case, staying home and going to college. And yet, in other cases, it could be going right into the workforce. But how will they have the skills to do that? Buckeye Career Center has been the answer for one of our daughters. She's learning to do things with her hands that are going to be very valuable for her in the workplace. And we're excited we have Buckeye to thank for that.
Adults who return to Buckeye Career Center to continue their education usually have one goal in mind. They want the opportunity for a better job. The fact is, adult education programs at Buckeye Career Center are less expensive and provide greater opportunities for job placement following graduation. It's your future. Get the facts. Buckeye Career Center. We put people to work. Find out more about your future at buckeyecareercenter.org.
WJER and TV2 would like to introduce you to a new website, WJERTV2.com, where you can watch exciting high school football, soccer, and volleyball replays from TV2 Sports on your home computer, smartphone, or tablet. Also watch the latest episodes of TV2's original programming, Sports Talk, The Garden Girl, The Not So Shy Chef, Off the Record, and Medical Minutes, as well as catch up on local community news and search for local businesses. So make sure to check out the new WJERTV2.com community website where everything's local.
Well, thanks to the project architects and some computer magic, we're going to show you an aerial animation of what the emergency center will look like. As we fly around the hospital, you see the existing main entrance there on the left, and we're starting to move down as if we're driving on Hospital Drive, down around towards the back of the hospital campus. Looking straight across, our view now is of the addition to the Union Hospital existing building. There you can see the new emergency center addition, the big UH there up on the side. Below there to the back on the right side of the picture, you see where the ambulances will be bringing patients. Also, the new helipad will be located there. And as we continue to move around now to the back of the campus, you can see how the emergency patient parking lot is over there to the right. The large lots in the foreground is employee parking and also visitor parking. And as we continue our flight around to the Dover side of the building, you can see what is there right now, which is that large retaining wall, which enabled us to open the new patient parking lot. The white columns there will be the new entrance canopy. That's where cars will arrive. Patients will exit the car and go on into the emergency department, and then the driver can park in the nearby parking lot. As we come around now, headed out back towards the boulevard on Medical Park Drive, you can see the hospital laboratory there in the foreground and the turn where you go up to enter. All of this coming, the new emergency center coming in 2016.
Hi, and welcome back to TV2 Profiles. I'm your host, Cheyenne Carroll. Now today, we are here with Patrolman Carmen Demetio of the Dover Police Office. So welcome to the program today, Carmen.
Thank you.
So first of all, I know what you do on a daily basis, but before we get into your work as a police officer, tell me a little bit about where you came from and how you ended up here in Dover, Ohio. I know it's a pretty unique story.
Okay, I was born in Puerto Rico. I have 4 siblings, and when I was 5 years old, my father's originally from New York City. We moved to New York City when I was 5. I lived in New York till I was 19. After I graduated high school, I went to college for a year. It wasn't my thing, so I joined the Air Force. The Air Force took me to Texas, San Antonio, Texas, and then Shreveport, Louisiana, where I met my husband, who's from New Philadelphia. we got married, and when our service was up, we moved back to New Philly, Dover, New Philly area.
I bet the culture is so different, going from
A little.
Puerto Rico, you know, to being in the Air Force in New York and being here. Explain that to me. I mean, was there something that really stood out to you that was completely different about Dover than New York, or Puerto Rico that you remember?
New York and Dover are very different, but like I tell people, I have the best of both worlds because New York City is a 45-minute flight from Akron. I have a 15-year-old daughter, and any long break that she has from school, she flies back to New York. So I have, what I have here, I would not be able to have in New York City. So as far as, yeah, I still have the best of both worlds. This is a great area to raise a child. The schooling is great, and I love like the small town atmosphere, so.
Now, you said you were in the Air Force. So
Yes.
what did you do in the Air Force?
As security forces.
Okay, so you kind of, it's in your blood, we were discussing,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Now, you said your dad was an investigator?
He worked for the State Liquor Authority, which is now Liquor Control, but he retired from that, yes.
And your husband and your father-in-law and your brother-in-law, tell me about the police history that you have.
My husband is a deputy Coshocton County Sheriff's Department. He's been there for almost 13 years, 14 years. My father-in-law just retired from New Philly Police Department, 35 years of service, and my brother-in-law works for New Philadelphia Police Department also. He's been there about 7 years.
Wow. So is that like the family career? Is that something you always knew you wanted to get into law enforcement when you were young?
It was somewhere in, yes, somewhere inside of me. It was something I always wanted to do. I knew that I could never do anything typical, I don't know, like for a female. I was kind of a tomboy growing up, and it was just something that always appealed to me. So.
And with your husband being a sheriff's deputy in Coshocton, is that hard, you know, to have two law enforcement officials in one family? Is your daughter okay with that, you know, or does she just learn to deal with it because it is kind of the family trade?
It's actually something that's come out in conversation recently that she's not okay with it,
Really?
which, yeah, kind of breaks my heart. But she's used to it. She has been used to it. We've both worked shift work since she was born. He was deployed when she was to Saudi Arabia when she was a year old. So we've always dealt with having shift work and having to try and figure out how to manage a family with a child. She mentioned to me about 2 years ago that she's not okay with her mom being a police officer. And I don't know if it's because a lot of the more media coverage, and she's more afraid about me getting hurt at work. As far as being married to another police officer, I think it's a great thing because it takes a certain person to be a police officer, and to be able to come home and have that person that I could share my day with and he could understand, and I love that. I can't imagine being married to a person that's not a police officer.
Normal person. Right?
Not a normal.
You mentioned your daughter and how, you know, she's maybe not okay with this, but you as a mom, are you ever nervous when you go to work?
I try not to think about that. That's something, as a mom, as a wife, you try and put that aside because you don't want that to get in the way of your job, or if there is a situation where I could be at risk or my guys could be at risk, you never want that to be something that's going to make you react a certain way. So my primary thing is making sure that I'm safe, that my guys are safe, that, you know, the public's safe. That's just a different role you take on kind of whenever you go to work. You put on the uniform and you start taking on a different role. I think all of us do that in this career field. It's like about half hour before I start getting dressed, you start like this whole transformation. Yes, like you almost, for me, it's like, okay, leave me alone. I'm gonna start getting ready, and it's kind of like you go into a certain mindset. And
Now, do you still kind of have that mindset? Say you're, you know, off, you know, today you're out driving around, you see a car accident or something. Is it in you to get out and help those people no matter what?
Yeah, it never shuts off. It's something that you never, it never shuts off. My sister, when she visits, she laughs because if I go out, my husband and I have different codes for each other. If we're out in public and there's somebody that I think might have a problem with me because of dealing with them at work, we have certain codes for each other, and it's something that you never shut off, especially living in the area where you work.
Right.
So it's something you never shut off.
You see those people a little more frequently. Talk about what a day, you know, what a shift is like for you. You work midnights, we know, so maybe a little quieter during the midnight shift, but I'm sure you've really experienced it all.
Yeah, midnight shift for me, well, I was on afternoon shift. The only shift I have not worked is day shift, but I've been at Dover for 10 years. I was on afternoon shift for 4 of the 10 years. But midnight shift is quieter, usually during Sunday to Thursday, But the thing about midnight shift is you never know. Whereas afternoon shift, it's always go, 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 go. Midnight shift, there could be a Sunday where for some reason, last Sunday when it was really cold, we were busy, and I'm like, it was like below zero, and we were really busy, and you never know with midnight shift is the thing. Whereas opposed to other shifts, you have to keep, you have an idea of, oh, it's going to be busy. It's a Saturday afternoon. On afternoon shift, it's going to be busy. Midnight shift, we deal with a lot of the bars, which have to do with a lot of fight and intoxicated people. We do a lot of traffic enforcement for DUIs, traffic violations, domestics. There's tend to be a lot on midnight shift. We're always doing patrolling for people breaking into vehicles and things like that.
Now, you were talking about, well, we were talking about culture earlier, how it's different for you from New York to here in Dover. What about, translation and things like that? Because I know you're really good at that. I've witnessed it on the phone when I go in to do rounds, and you're talking on the phone with an officer. You've got someone else on the phone, and you're translating to the officer what they're saying. And to me, it's so interesting that you can just switch from one language to the other so quickly. And I mean, do you even think about it, or does it just happen?
It happens. It's becoming harder because, well, my mom just moved to the area, so actually I'm freshening up on it more. But whenever I moved away from home, my Spanish is my primary language since I was born in Puerto Rico. But since I stopped using it for a little bit, it became harder. But yes, I call myself like the translator for the whole county pretty much. Because if 911 gets a call and they can't understand, sometimes they'll transfer them to me to figure out what's going on and where they need to transfer to. If New Philly, it's usually New Philly and myself, sometimes the Sheriff's Department, sometimes the Highway Patrol if they're on a traffic stop and it's somebody who can't speak English, they'll call me to come out and help translate if it's an accident, or they'll bring them to the station, things like that. New Philly in the last couple of weeks had a couple of domestics they needed me to translate for. So, yep.
It's really a part of your daily job, it sounds like. You're helping all of these other people. Are the other officers at Dover, are they okay with that? If you had to run over to Philly for something or run, to the county for something else to help these people, because it sounds like your services, they're needed throughout the county.
And I think, fortunately enough, now that there's actually 2 other officers at Dover Police that speak Spanish fairly well, so that if I'm not there, if they're on a traffic stop or something, or on a call, they could get the gist of it. But yeah, my fellow officers, I think that they're okay with it. As far as my captain, as long as we're not short and we're not getting our heads kicked in, he's okay with me going and assisting other departments. It's like it is part of my job to do it. It's something I guess I expect. So
right, and it's something you just grew up, speaking Spanish. So it's almost your first nature rather than your second nature. So it's probably easy for you to do that on the job, and it's helpful, especially in our area. It's something we need, and I'm sure midnight shift. There probably aren't many translators throughout the county that are available at that time of evening.
I would imagine. I would imagine trying to get somebody out of bed at that time might be a little harder, but.
Yeah.
Omni Orthopedics comprehensive programs provide early diagnosis and successful treatment for every musculoskeletal problem. With more than 30 years of orthopedic experience, their physicians offer patient-centered treatment for all ages. From evaluation to rehabilitation, your treatment plan is designed around your needs. Omni Orthopedics specializes in sports medicine, the spine, physical medicine and rehabilitation, foot and ankle, and hand surgery. If pain makes activities like climbing stairs, standing or walking a challenge, turn to the home team at Omni Orthopedics. Their mission is to provide you with the highest quality and most advanced orthopedic services so you can get back in the game. Located in the Oxford Medical Arts Building, Omni offers a full-service facility including digital x-ray and physical therapy. So there's no need to travel when quality care is so close to home. Omni Orthopedics, setting the standard in orthopedic care.
I'm John Maselli, and I would like to welcome you to the Sunnyside Store restaurant. Since 1999, we have served over 500,000 meals. We specialize in steak, pasta, and the patron special, ribs. The Sunnyside Store is located at 5495 North Worcester Avenue in Peral. Hours are Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday, we open at 9 a.m. for breakfast. For more information or to schedule an event in the banquet room for groups of 40 or smaller, call 330-364-5474. This is John Maselli inviting you to the Sunnyside Store restaurant.
Brilliantly practical scientist Harriet Tuttle's search for a more efficient life concluded with an unorthodox solution. Harriet created 4 more Harriets. Together they were a model of efficiency. However, while identical, they had their own interests and their own retirement plans, each customized with a Raymond James financial advisor, allowing them to enjoy life separately and together. Life well planned. See what a Raymond James advisor can do for you.
Okay, well, again, we're talking with Carmen Dematio from the Dover Police Department. So, Carmen, let's talk about being a woman in the police department. You said there are 4 at Dover and a few at New Philadelphia, but to me, it's still pretty rare. Do you believe that?
I believe that in the last several years, decade, I think there's a lot more women in the last several decades in law enforcement now. I don't think it's as rare as it used to be. Maybe for this area, but I came from, when I got to Dover Police Department, there was one other female at the time. She left, and then it was just me for a couple years, and then we got one, and now here in the last year and a half we hired 2 more, so there's 4 girls now, 4 females at the Dover Police Department.
Yeah, woman power.
Yes.
Does that make you feel a little bit better? Did you mind when you were the only woman on the force?
Not at all, and I don't mind with 3 other women. No, I don't. Like I said, it takes a special person to be a police officer, so I feel like as long as they know how to do the job, and we all get along really well, so.
Now, does age have anything to do with that? You know, are the older officers there a little more hesitant of the new women that are coming in, or do you guys just kind of do it, you know,
yeah,
all
I think
together?
we kind of do it. I think the girls that they hired are, you know, really good, and there's nothing that could be said about it. I don't think that there is any problems with it. Nothing that, yeah.
You know, I know you guys go out in partners a lot of times. Do you prefer to be with another woman, with a male, or
I don't
do
have
you
any.
care?
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. We don't go out in partners. We don't go out in. It's one single person cruisers, but we are out on the road together.
Right.
To me, it doesn't matter. If like I said, I know that they could do their job, and I know that they have my back just as well as one of the guys do. So. It doesn't matter to me.
Well, and let's expand on that. You know, if you're the one person going to a domestic call or something at a home, do you ever feel nervous? I mean, I know we talked about how it's just a part of you and you just do it, but does it make you nervous to be the only officer responding to a specific call?
On midnight shift, it's pretty rare that we go to a call by ourselves. I always think of my safety and, like I said, the public safety. If it's a situation where I feel like it's escalated, then I would call for backup. You try not to get nervous. Like, I don't believe there's anybody that doesn't get nervous. Like I said, it's especially on midnight shifts, since it's not that busy. I know that any of the guys could be there in a couple seconds if I need help with something.
Well, and if it is something bad, you know, does your heart kind of drop? I know just listening to the scanner at the radio station, sometimes the calls that we hear, I can only imagine what's going through your mind maybe when, you know, you've got the sirens and the lights on and you're going to a house and who knows what you're going to find.
Well, usually responding to a call, you just start thinking about, okay, what am I going to find? What am I going to do? Because you get some specifics as to what's going on. So with that, you just try and think about, okay, what am I going to do when I get there? You just try going over it in your mind, and you slow yourself down. Like, that's the time to, like, relax and slow yourself down, so you're not rushing. You don't think about that. You don't think about the nervousness or anything. You just try and get there and do your job.
So what's the next step for you? Do you see yourself staying at the Dover Police Department for a long time? Would you like to, you know, move into a detective's position somewhere else? Or what do you think about the future?
I am happy where I'm at. I'm very happy. Like I said, I don't see myself leaving the Dover, Philly area. My daughter's 15 and I have a son that's 18. So yeah, I don't see myself. I'm very happy here. My parents moved from New York City around the corner from me 3 years ago. They bought a house. So now that I have them in the area also, I don't see myself leaving this area. I'm happy. I don't know as far as being detective or anything further. I'm happy where I'm at. Yeah, I guess I'll get there whenever I feel it in my bones, but right now I'm happy where I'm happy.
Now you mentioned your son being 18 years old. What does he think about his mom being a cop? You said the daughter, well, maybe not too sure, but the 18-year-old son, does he like that?
He's never expressed anything. He's never expressed any concerns or anything like that. I'm curious now that he's 18 and he's getting out on his own, how it's going to affect him.
Right.
But they both know, they've both voiced to me before that they don't like their parents being cops for a different reason, not because of the danger, but because of...
Well, everyone probably knows who they are. You always know what's going on, even when you're not with them. I know that's part
and I
of
always tell them, I'm like, don't think that if you get stopped by a cop that you're going to throw my name out there and you're going to get off. Everybody knows that if they stop one of my kids for doing something wrong, you call me and you write them for it, because that's the only way they're going to learn. So they know. They think that, oh, you know, it's a plus to have a parent as a cop, and it's not.
Well, and they have two. So
yes, exactly.
No matter where
they're covered. They can't go to Coshocton or Tuscarawas County. They can't get in trouble. But
all right. Well, Carmen, we covered a lot today. Is there maybe some advice? Sometimes I like to end with this for an 18-year-old, 17-year-old woman coming out of high school, going into college, not sure what they want to do, and they might want to get into law enforcement. Any tips to give those people?
Follow your heart. You have to, like I said, I think it takes a special person to be in law enforcement, and it's not to let anybody deter them from it. It is a difficult field to be in. As a woman, sometimes, you know, your heart is more into it, which I think is a trait that is needed sometimes, because sometimes you don't all have to be muscles. Sometimes it's good to be able to talk. But I think that it's awesome to have. I am very happy with as many females as we have in our police department. I think that I believe in girl power. We can do anything that any guy can do, and sometimes better. So not to let anybody deter them from it. And
I'm sure when you're dealing with children, you know, out, on your daily routine, it maybe helps to be that mom and to be that woman and just talk to them, like a kid.
It does,
just motherly.
Right. Like I have certain instincts, which there's certain guys that can get down to that level and talk, but I think it's just natural to me. So when it comes to certain situations, I feel like, yes, I could handle them better.
Well, I know. I passed you one time this summer, and you were just smiling as you were driving the patrol car, and I thought, well, there's Carmen, just happy as could be, waving at a kid across the street. So, okay, well, again, we spoke with Carmen Demetio today, who is a Dover police officer. So thanks, Carmen, for your time.
Thank you.
And for TV2 Profiles, I'm Cheyenne Carroll.